Hi, my name is Chris, aka Angry Deli, aka Friar Fuck. I'm 45 years old. I live in the greater Detroit area with my wife and my daughter. More specifically, we live in the Downriver Detroit area. It's pretty nice. It's pretty quiet. I'm originally from Grand Rapids, Michigan. One of the benefits of being from Michigan is that you can actually point to where you live. For example, we live right about here, and where I'm originally from is right about there, I think. Yeah, right about there. By trade, I'm a video producer, videographer, litigation support technician. Basically, I help lawyers with their cases and any electronic and video needs when they go to trial or court, as it may be. I graduated Ferris State University in 1995 for television broadcasting, and I learned very quickly that I hated television broadcasting. 3 years, yeah, 3 years in that field, and it was 3 years too long. I moved to the Detroit area in 1998, late August 1998, and I've been working in the legal field ever since. I'm also a musician. I play guitar in a local metal band. Although I prefer all types of music except rap and pop fluff shit. And I don't like opera either. I'm self-taught musically. I play guitar, bass, keyboards, piano, synthesizer. I'm also a music producer. I produce my band's recordings. I also have done live recordings as well, and helped other bands produce their music here in the Detroit area over the course of I would say about 13 years that I've been doing the music scene around here. Just mostly just for a laugh and for fun. Certainly don't expect to make any money doing it. Love fun and also therapy. It's a lot cheaper than going to see a shrink for $200 a session. I think I was first introduced to the Gorgeous George show around 2003. I think I was looking up just prank callers because I was looking for someone that used to prank call public access back in Grand Rapids back in the day. I came across these clips of the Gorgeous George show, and of course I'd never heard of it. It's public access. It's Richmond, so naturally I wouldn't have heard of it. What got me initially interested and why I became so into him is because here's this guy, this 300-pound gorilla, this big fat slob wearing really bad suits, and he's parading around like he's king shit and making statements like all women worship him, all men respect me, bow down to the baby maker, whatever. Clearly taking himself way, way too seriously. And I couldn't tell at first if this was a joke, if he was doing this on purpose. And I thought, no way, this guy is really taking himself that seriously. And when I heard the callers that would call and prank him, I thought this is entertaining. Not only because clearly the audience thought he was nothing more than just a joke, but this guy's comebacks were just absolutely horrible. I mean, I've heard better comebacks on the school bus when I was in junior high, and these little retorts this guy would make just made no sense. And it was just like, why don't you go meet and greet your own dog? I mean, it's just really juvenile shit. And here's this guy who, A, is on public access, so he's not this big celebrity he's making himself out to be. B, he's gross and fat, and yet he thinks that all women want to, just lick the sweaty moisture from his nutsack. C, he was doing this woo, like he's Rick fucking Flair or something like that. It's like he was just making himself out to be a target every time he opened his fucking mouth, and then these callers would just give it right back to him. And to me, that was fucking entertainment. That's entertainment. because I mean, I hate reality TV, and I hate, like I mentioned before, I hate TV with a passion. But to me, this guy was entertaining in the fact that he is a fucking idiot and he doesn't get it. He's clearly tripping over his own feet right before my eyes. He's making himself out to be this target, but he's taking it so seriously. I remember I showed it to my wife years ago, and her initial reaction was like, "Ew, the fuck is this guy? Ugh," you know, it's just like her face, ugh. What makes this guy come back for more abuse? I mean, he's clearly, you know, not everything that he's making himself out to be. So why does he? What motivates him to do what he does? And that's really where you get the answer of why we do what we do. Why we, you know, just egg this guy on. We're not all going to be sitting at the GG fan club toasting his non-success, and he's certainly not going to be singing our praises any day soon. I mean, just the fact that if you want to fast forward here, the fact that he's taking Sean Brennan and Will Markland to court over criticizing his show, taking them to federal fucking court, and taking YouTube to court. Now, here's a guy that would flag anybody's video that had any of his public access show. If this fat fuck actually opened up his brain, he would actually realize that public access, whoever takes the money from him to do a show, they own the material. They hold the masters. They allow him to use their equipment. They allow him to use their electricity and their utilities for his show, which is clearly not just his is not the only show. So him getting so bent out of shape and butthurt about criticism while he would make 3-hour tirade videos, basically doing the same thing that we're doing. But since he's doing it, he's the victim, then it's okay. It's just the fucking hypocrisy of this guy. He cannot handle criticism, and that's, I think, what drives us even more. That drives us on even more. It makes us more motivated to tell this guy's a fat sack of shit. It makes us more motivated to try to. I guess if you want it to make this guy wake up, snap out of this fucking delusion. This ruse, as he likes to call it, this ruse. He would brag on his show that he lives in a mansion. He makes a 6-income figure. That's 6-figure income, George, by the way. And you look forward to now, he lives in his childhood home that his mom owned, and he's losing that to bankruptcy when he filed bankruptcy last year. I don't think any of us set out to be harassing. I mean, certainly he is clearly not stalker material. I mean, so he likes to call us cyber stalkers. I don't think there was anything evil in that. I don't think there was anything specifically evil. It's just the fact that this guy, he gets so mad and takes things so personal, he falls for it every damn time. And you think that after all this time, he would actually wake up and realize, hey, maybe I'm not all that. You know, I'm having financial problems. I haven't had a steady girlfriend since God knows when. This guy just does not want to see reality for what it is. That the only reason that we do what we do, if you had to nail it down, is to give this guy a fucking dose of reality. It's not like we wake up every morning and say, hey, I'm going to go fuck with a fat man in Virginia just because I like it. We got better things to do. We are his only constant audience. Without us, his show would go virtually unremembered. I think the initial Goons came from George. The Goons actually was a phrase coined by George when he called the callers that were calling up. He referred to them as the Richmond Goons. Now there was also people that were from the Something Awful web forum. Now I was around about the time when Something Awful was. It actually had a big draw, and it was very active. I don't know if it's very active anymore. I was never part of the Something Awful crowd. I remember going on there a couple times, and it just seemed like it was just a bunch of drama and a lot of just backbiting, and nobody would factions started appearing. Factions within the Something Awful camp, and that's not really something I wanted to be part of. So I was a de facto goon simply when I would start making these response videos. And at the time, my trademark was to take a this is before the days before smartphones, and so I would take a video camera and flip the viewfinder over, and I would walk around ranting about GG being a hypocrite, being a fat son of a bitch, and whatever. And that kind of became my stock in trade. I mean, obviously, that was also the days before YouTubers, that before there was anything really as YouTubers. Quite honestly, I didn't save any. After 13 years, I didn't really save any of the stuff I did. I know there was one that's, if you go on YouTube, one of Sean's videos where I did a dramatic reading of Gigi crying to somebody that he's poor and he's going to lose his house, and I think that was like in 2011. That's probably one of the only things you'll find that I did, prior to, anywhere. But ask most of the goons, ask Leighton, ask Sean, ask Will, and they'll tell you I was there, pretty much at the beginning. There was a period where I would just kind of like disappear off the radar just because I kind of got tired with it, and trolling them was just. I think the trolling is kind of like it comes and goes. Some of us, like Will and Sean. I mean, that's they're pretty much there all the time. They're there, and now Marty McFly's doing it, and a host of others, and I have to apologize. I've forgotten so many names. I just remember the screen names, pretty much. It's just I've always been on the outer fringe when it comes to being a goon. I was always on the outer fringe, but I was always keen on that I was there at the beginning. I just did it because here's a guy that just needs to have some sense slapped into him. I hate people like him that walk around thinking they're king shit. He's a homophobe. He's a sexist. He's a womanizer. He's narcissistic, clearly. He's delusional. I think initially, if he would have laughed along with it and just, learned how to be a little bit more thick-skinned about these people that were calling in and just just verbally beat the shit out of him, I think he would have been okay. I think the callers would have been a little bit more sympathetic, and if Gigi would have learned how to just take an insult with a compliment, which granted there weren't many compliments at all, I think he would have been better off. But no, it's just like it's like this human weeble wobble. You You push him, he's going to come right back. But he comes back in such a sloppy, haphazard way that it just makes you want to do it more because it's just one of those human nature things. It's like just seeing him get so fucking mad that he trips over his own feet. That's how could you not be entertained by that? I think where Gigi went wrong was when he was when he first started appearing on on public access. I mean, I've seen some of his earlier shows, and he was even more cocky and abrasive than when I first saw him, which was like I said around 2003, and he's been doing this shit since the 90s. So clearly he's built up this persona in his own mind and on public access for God knows how long, and believing his own hype was his major mistake. And he's been making the same mistakes, and they've only been getting worse. It's like the snowball effect. You take one little snowball, you roll it down a mountain, and by the time it gets to the bottom, it's out of control. It's his problems have had to do with his ego. He can't stand his ego taking any damage to the point where he disregards all reality while the snowball runs his big ass over. A classic example is when Sean called Gigi on his birthday show, and Gigi was trying to turn around and make it all appear like he pranked Sean. No, Sean kind of clearly owned his ass from the first call. First of all, Gigi didn't have to take his phone call, and not only once but twice, or three times he let him back on. He could have just ignored the call and just carried on, but no, he made Sean make his show entertaining just because of the banter between those two back and forth. And again, it's Gigi just trips over his own feet when he gets so pissed. And that's what's so entertaining, is to watch this narcissist constantly own himself left and right. I see him destitute even more so than now. I would like to think that somewhere down the line he's going to finally wake up and realize that 99% of the shit that's happened in his life has been of his own doing. The sympathetic person in me would like to see, by some shred of human dignity, would like to see him realize that what he's done for the past 23 years has been he's been waddling down the wrong path from the get-go, and that he would like to better his life somehow by not being an asshole, by not having some humility and actually making a decent living by doing something productive with his life other than throwing his life away chasing a dream that clearly is not going to happen. Like Harry Chapin said, you kind of have to dream when you're young. Where I see GG, and based on how he's acted in the past and how he acts now, I see him just destitute, beyond destitute. I see him living in some shitty, squalid apartment above an abandoned shop somewhere downtown Richmond in the shitty area, and working at some bowling alley, just trying to put food on the table. And then he's just gonna walk back to his apartment and just reflect on where he went wrong. But unfortunately, he doesn't see himself that way. He's defiant to the end. And unfortunately, I don't think that the success wagon is going to be making any stops at Gigi's door anytime soon. I have no advice to give to Gigi. I've said pretty much everything I need to say in every video I've ever done. And anybody with half a fucking brain would have seen in the first 2 minutes what I've been trying to tell him and what the Goons have been trying to tell him for years. It's wake the fuck Wake up. Wash up. Smarten up. It's never too late to turn your life around, to make something productive of yourself. And instead, you want to waste your time worrying about what people think of you when you say you don't care what other people think, but yet you're going through all these lengths to prove otherwise. And that's what you don't get, Gigi. You don't get it. And I've been saying that for damn near 14 fucking years. And nothing I do is going to make any difference. Nothing that any goon is going to say that's going to make any difference at all. Except to say, wake the fuck up. Just wake the fuck up. And the moment and the day that you finally do, you'll be better off. You won't need to feed off of of us anymore. It's a simple solution. The moment that you realize that your life has taken a fucking wrong turn many miles ago, and you're thinking, hey, maybe I better do a U-turn and not give these trolls or these goons anything to feed off of. Maybe my life will be better off, and then we'll have to shift our focus elsewhere. We're still going to be here, just like you're going to be doing what you do. The only difference is that we can see the reality of our surroundings. You can't. You can't. And that's pretty much, that's it in a nutshell. Hi, I'm Chris, also known as Angry Deli, also known as Friar Fuck. And I'm a 45-year-old male. Obviously. Hi. I can't do a fucking interview to save my ass. Hi, I'm Angry Deli, aka Friar Fuck, for reasons I'll explain later. I'm not one of those guys that sit outside somebody's home with a video camera trying to pull them work. God, I suck at this shit. Basically, what? God damn. I'm 45 years old. I live in the greater Detroit area, Detroit, Michigan. In case you people didn't know where Detroit was, down here, I think. And he's male. Dude, that fucking sucked. I could do it better than that. Stop.